Yeah, yo, still battling with
Down the
that.
street. How's
Yeah,
that going?
it's there. It's
Mm.
there. You know, Islam to all the Moors, peace and love. Yes, another Tuesday, and it's always going down. Wanna give a shout out to Conscious Vibrations blog talk show for their unity session last night. They had
Okay.
the Moorish unity, all the heads,
Mm.
that agreed to be on it. You know what I mean? The ones that you know are doing something
Mm.
with regard to the Moorish movement. So there were people who said that they don't want to be on it.
Okay.
So what we answered, and again, you can go to Conscious Vibrations on Blog Talk Radio. There was one question that I wanted to elaborate on a little bit because I forgot to say something last night. How can you tell a real temple from a fake temple? Okay? The fake temple, remember, like we talked about, because people say, oh, last night he said the people and then today he's saying the temple. No, we're sharp, right? Nothing's wrong with the temple. There's no such thing as fake temple or anything like that. Temple's perfect. Right? Temple's perfect. The individuals in the temple that have seats of power determine whether that temple is real or fake. So in the fake temple, you'll hear them talk like, this is something that I forgot to bring up last night. You'll hear them talk like, oh, Grand Sheikh Nature El Bay? No, you don't want to study from him. Oh, RV Bay Publications? Oh no, don't go to that website because those are the renegade Moors. Those are the lock and load Moors, right? You don't want to be with them.
Mm.
Taj Tariq Bay? Oh no, he tells you the Constitution and all that stuff. You don't need all of that. That's not right. Oh, Cujo, no, he changed the prayer and he let sisters wear fezzes and don't listen to them. When you hear that type of stuff right there, when you hear Moors talking about active Moors in a negative instead of boosting them up, like, yeah, those are the Moors. Like, I'm a temple Moor and we're passive. All we do is pray to Noble Drew Ali. But if you want to know some more science or whatever, go check Grand Sheikh Nature El Bay. Go to his temple if you want to know about something. But they don't do that.
No.
They do the, oh no, damn, those ones that, those ones this, they don't, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then that goes back to the sisters thing about, she was talking about where's the unity. The disunity are the people who don't want to get down with this. The disunity are the people who want to keep calling people black. The disunity is people who want to say that they have some nation with a credit line. And that qualifies them as a nation because they have a credit line.
Okay.
Right? The disunity are people who want to fly Moroccan flags in their house, but all they talk about is black stuff. But have a Moroccan flag in their house. On the camera. Right where they do all their black talking stuff. But there's a Moroccan flag there though. Mm. But they're not, they're not Moors though, but there's a Moroccan flag there. That when the Moor, when a Moor was on the black guy show, He went and fixed the flag so the star could show. But that's a black guy though, right? Black power and buy black, sell black, this is black, this is black. You know, they're black because of the essence of the universe and the melanin of the carbon in the pills for melatonin and whatever. That's the disunity. Remember, that's the disunity. So don't sit there wondering about, you know, when are the Moors going to unite? Like we said last night, Moors called me from all over the world. Like all over the world. So nobody can tell me there's no unity amongst Moors. If Moors all over the world talk to each other.
Yeah, for sure.
How is there no unity? Right? And then this is why Drew Ali said, if we get the people to think, they'll save themselves. You don't need no Holy Quran and one-on-one questionnaire and all that stuff. How about you just think? How about you use your goddamn common sense? Like just use your common sense. And then go read the Quran and all that stuff. Don't be mindless of common sense and talk about, yeah, nationality is the order of the day. Yeah, sure it is. When you have no common sense? When you're ignoramus? So use your common sense. So we just want to say Islam to the Moors for last night. Good session. You know what I mean? We need more like that. You know, so people could get some good direction. Once again, you know, Cali Moors, Brother Rami Salam El put me onto this one. He got something coming for this. So we're not going to beat it up too much, but, you know, Judy Thomas, the Kansas City Star. And this was an article from August 29th, 2015. The case made headlines last fall in the midst of the Ferguson unrest. Two men with ties to the new Black Panther Party were charged with acquiring weapons in what was later revealed to be a plot to kill two public officials and blow up a police station. The two pleaded guilty. Right. Keep in mind, King Alfred plan and the fact that these people have agents. And don't forget, they don't care about their agents. They'll give their agent life. Ask Malachi York. They'll give their agent life. They don't care about their agent because you're a sellout. So if you're a sellout, then you're worse than the people we're trying to even kill. If you're a sellout. If you're a traitor, you're worse than the people we're sending you to go infiltrate their stuff. But we'll use you for now. But as soon as time goes, you know, we wipe our hands and whatever. So the two pleaded guilty in June and will be sentenced Thursday in federal court in St. Louis. You know, fake federal court. And in a lesser known twist, one of the African American defendants is an adherent of a movement that has its origins in racist and anti-Semitic beliefs. Olajuwon Ali Davis is a Moorish national, quote unquote, an offshoot of the sovereign citizen movement. Now let's right, common sense, remember, right? Okay, so Moorish national, we'll put the quote unquotes in there. There's a quote unquote Moorish national, right? Okay, is an offshoot of sovereign citizen movement. Okay, Moorish national timeline Carthage, Atlantis, right? Okay. Sovereign citizen movement, 18 something. So it appears that the sovereign citizen movement is actually an offshoot of the Moorish movement. If we use our common sense and not play games and, oh yeah, we got so much books, let's find a reference to prove something. You have to prove anything. You use your goddamn common sense. Right? So that's one strike. Which disqualifies this whole thing. But we're just gonna go with it because, they like to pretend that, you know what I mean, a reporter, a degree in journalism or whatever like that. All these people are agents. All of them. Experts and authorities say the case illustrates the changing face of the movement, whose members believe the government is corrupt and out of control and has no jurisdiction over them. Right? While today's movement remains largely white and still has some followers with racist leanings, a surge in the number of non-white sovereign citizens is underway across the country. So okay. So we have a
large number are not.
We have an African American movement that has its origins in racist and anti-Semitic beliefs, right? So which means that it's, black only, you know what I mean? Kill those guys because they don't look like us or whatever.
Yeah,
okay. But the sovereign citizen movement that they're saying these guys are the offshoot is quote unquote white, which is supposed to be the KKK and the sovereign citizen people and the whoever, because all of them are classified as quote unquote white. Which means that this can't be something racist if the black and the white are studying the same information. Obviously there's no racism then. So now, this brings up a whole different direction that we got to go now. Because why is she gonna just call it racist? Openly call it racist, right? And had to make sure, because remember, the Moorish movement's not racist. So she had to say that it's African American to tie racist to
race to
right? Because as Moors, we know races came from some Europeans. That's not our stuff, right? So they go on and on and on, and it's like, we dealt with this already, right? So they used this as the caption picture for the article, right? And you could just go on YouTube, Canaanland Moors, all Black Panthers are Moors, and you'll see us break this thing down right here, right? Which, they didn't rebut, so which means they acquiesce, so that stands as law. Because the Moors, who are the bailiffs, the real judicial authority, were the ones that, So this not even supposed to be coming up, because this was already dealt with. But because they really have nothing on the Moors, they have to regurgitate dead things. On top of that, they're dead. They're a corpse. So the corpse has to use a corpse. Right? The corpse can't use living beings. The corpse have to use corpses. Okay? So just remember that Brother Rami is going to give them something with this. That's why we're not even going to touch it. Sovereign citizens now consist of all colors and creeds is the name of the article. August 29, 2015 by Judy L. Thomas. The illusion of choice. Media has never been more consolidated. 6 media giants now control a staggering 90% of what we read, watch, or listen to. The 6 companies are General Electric.
I wouldn't think a place that a company that makes radios or something, or speakers or like
General Electric, right? Fridges,
make microwaves or something, right?
Right?
Or a toaster or something.
Notable properties: Comcast, NBC, Universal Pictures, Focus Features. News Corp. Notable properties: Fox, Wall Street Journal, New York Post. Disney. Notable properties: ABC, ESPN, Pixar, Miramax, Marvel Studios. Viacom. Notable properties: MTV, Nickelodeon Junior, BET, CMT, Paramount Pictures. Time Warner. Notable properties: CNN, HBO, AOL, Warner Brothers, and CBS. Notable properties: Showtime, Smithsonian Channel, NFL.com, Jeopardy, 60 Minutes. I didn't know Smithsonian's had a channel. That must be a good show. That must be a good show. I wanted to also put out there, I saw this on good brother El Mario Amorde's page today on Facebook. General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, date 1836. Document. Hold on. Annotation. In a letter describing the situation in Texas, Santa Anna denounces Texans who continue to bring slaves into the region and who circumvent Mexican law to calling slaves apprentices. Document. There is a considerable amount of slaves in Texas also, who have been introduced by their masters under cover of certain questionable contracts, but who, according to our laws, should be free. Shall we permit those wretches to moan in chains any longer in a country whose kind laws protect the liberty of man without distinction or caste or color? Jose Maria Tornell. Relations between Texas, the United States of America, and the Mexican Republic, by Secretary of War during Texas Campaign 1837. Mexico's Secretary of War. Greater still is the astonishment of the civilized world to see the United States maintain the institution of slavery with its cruel laws to support and propagate it at a time when the other nations of the world have agreed to cooperate in the philanthropic enterprise of eradicating this blot and shame of the human race. So make sure you go tell all the black guys that in world history, every nation is trying to get rid of slavery because it's something that affects the human race. So all black guys, let them know that they can't claim that as their stuff, and they're the guys who were the worst slaves than anybody else, so they need reparations. Even though everybody else got reparations already because they got nationalities, they got common sense to know that you have to be part of a nation in order to get reparations. If you're not part of a nation, then all you get is grants.
Not part.
Right? Don Lorenzo de Zavala, in his trip to the United States, a work which he seemed to have written to laud them to the stars while depreciating his country to the lowest depths, at a time when perhaps he was already meditating his dark treason, cannot resist the natural instinct of repulsion inspired by the contrast of the humane and truly liberal policy of Mexico and the cruel and sanguinary one in the United States. In regard to the slaves, in crossing from the Mexican Republic to the states of our sister republic, the philosopher cannot help but feel the contrast presented by the two countries, nor can he fail to experience a grateful feeling of those who abolished this degrading traffic in human flesh, removing from our midst every vestige of so humiliating a spectacle of misery. As a matter of fact, without having proclaimed as pompously as the United States the rights of man, we have respected them better by abolishing all distinctions of class or race and considering as our brothers all creatures created by the common Father. The land speculators of Texas have tried to convert it into a mart of human flesh, where the slaves of the South might be sold and others from Africa might be introduced. The slaves of the South might be sold, and others from Africa will be introduced.
So you keep this up.
Right? So they're letting you know that there were slaves over here before they started bringing slaves from Africa here. This is in the Mexican history. And keep in mind that this is Mexican history, but they're talking about Texas. And that they have right to go over there and tell people that, yo, you guys can't do that under Mexican law. But they're talking about Texas, though. They're talking about Texas, though. Now, again, we're not talking about color would they be? Mexicans. Caramel. The caramel people. We're not talking about caramel people history. We're not talking about some rusted people. We're talking about some Auburn people, right? We're not talking about some lightly tarnished people. We're talking about Mexicans. We're talking about people who recognize that they come from a nation. And in their history, they're talking about the slaves are their brothers. Because they're from here. But then there were some African ones that they also brought over here, right?
And they're getting suckered into the...
into the be a slave, right? It seems... says, well, let's go back here. The land speculators of Texas have tried to convert it into, right, the land speculators, right?
That's a solid one right there.
So hold on a second. So the land speculators. So that means that
thieves, the guys.
That means that
speculate on.
Okay, so the people who are in Texas that claim that they're Texans or whatever, right? But don't look like the indigenous people in that area. They're being acknowledged as land speculators. Right. Let me need to see what this is right now, because let's just see what
you're gonna get when you look up.
Let's see what a speculator really is, just to make sure that we're on the right page with our brothers, the Mexicans, right? Who are telling us some stuff about our history. Our so-called slave history or whatever like that, telling us stuff about that we don't even know. In some letter he's writing. Right?
The speculators.
This land speculators. All right. So speculate. of speculari, to spy out, examine, from specula, watchtower, from specere, to look at. 1a, to meditate on or ponder a subject, reflect, to review something idly or casually and often inconclusively, to assume a business risk in hope of gain. Land speculator.
Business.
To buy or sell in expectation of profiting from market fluctuations. Synonym: think, speculation, speculative, speculator. The land speculators. So that's the one that we're going to start calling them right now. We're going to add that one to everything else. Make sure you put land speculators in your writs when you're talking about these foreign, European, land speculating private corporations posing as government, right? Like Texas. The land speculators of Texas have tried to convert it into a mart of human flesh, where the slaves of the South might be sold and others from Africa might be introduced. Since it is not possible to do it directly through the United States, it seems, Mrs. Trollope, that it is a general and deep-rooted opinion throughout the United States that the black race cannot be trusted. According to the prevailing opinion of the country, fear is the only force that moves a slave. It is not strange, therefore, that these poor wretches should act in keeping with such a policy. This mutual distrust, this reciprocal fear between master and slave, will someday result in the freedom of more than 3 million men, a fact to which the thinking men of the neighboring republic are not blind. What will be the course followed by the United States? To maintain and encourage this institution as long as possible, and when the fatal hour of destiny arrive, which is to destroy this tyrannous and opprobrious system, to treat them as the Indians, driving them into Mexican territory also. It is upon Texas and perhaps upon New Mexico and the two Californias that the anxious eyes of those who even now are giving their attention to the future destinies of the colored race rest. As in the United States, nothing is done without a preconceived plan, and since everybody works by common accord, as if by an admirable instinct of the realization of the ends pursued, it is incredible that the slow working out of the means by which someday certain difficulties whose transcendental importance has been fully realized will be solved should have been ignored in their reckoning. Thus, we see the concurrence of an infinite number of interests of the United States converging for the stimulation of their policy of expansion. 1836. General Antonio Lopez de Santana, and DE is DE in this, but you know, we know day is, you know, days, right? Powerful.
Speculators.
The land speculators, but going hard. The golden rule and the golden rule of law. What is the most important law? What is the most fundamental of precepts that if it does not exist, the very rule of law does not exist? You may already have an opinion, but before we discuss, let's review what is meant by the rule of law. The United Nations states that the rule of law refers to a principle of governance in which all persons, institutions, and entities, public and private, including the state itself, are accountable to laws that are publicly promulgated, equally enforced, and independently adjudicated, and which are consistent with international human rights, norms, and standards. A simpler definition of the rule of law, popular amongst dictionaries such as Merriam-Webster, is adherence to due process of law, government by law. Yet when it comes to the courts, to lawyers, to judges, magistrates, and members of the private bar association, their recollection of this most fundamental of concepts is far from certain, almost vague and corrupt. For example, Black's Law 2nd edition defines rule of law in vague and obscure terms as a legal principle of general application sanctioned by the recognition of authorities and usually expressed in the form of a maxim or logical proposition. Nothing about how fundamental it is. The guiding rule over all law, for goodness sake, is diminished by the lawyers to merely an ideal, a proposition, a hope, or a quest. It turns out that Aristotle and other cultures before the invention of the private bar guilds and clubs for lawyers were less vague. For Aristotle was reputed to have written, "It is more proper that law should govern than any of the citizens upon the same principle." In other words, that every member of a society are subject to the same set of laws, universal laws, divine laws, right? That no one is above the law, except Steven Seagal. That is simply precisely what the primary rule of law is. Put more simply, the golden rule is the rule of law, and the rule of law is the golden rule, sometimes expressed as the ethic of reciprocity or the ethic of equality. What do we mean by the golden rule? It is a feature of law found in sacred texts and scriptures throughout every major culture since the beginning of civilization itself. From the ancient Egyptian texts, Tales of the Eloquent Servant, we have, "Do for one who may do for you, and you may cause him thus to do." From 6th century BCE, we have through Confucius, Analects, 1523, "Do not do to others what you do not want them to do to you." From the Brahmin, we have, "This is the sum of dharma, duty. Do not unto others which would cause you pain if done to you." From the Buddhist work, just keep in mind who they're using as a reference. They talk about law though. They talk about law, but they're using prophets as a reference. Prophets who we have on a nationality card and all that stuff, by the way. Yeah, Noble Drew Ali was a prophet. He knew exactly what he was doing. And he knew exactly why he told Morris, study, study, study. From the Buddhist work, Udana Varga, we have, "Hurt not others in ways that you yourself would find hurtful." From the Jainism work, Akarangastura, we have, "Therefore, neither does he, a sage, cause violence to others, nor does he make others do so." Oh, Black Powers, kill crackers and eye for eyes and stuff like that. But people prior to that stuff, concept is, don't, a sage, mind you, we're not talking about commoner. These people say that, remember, the blackness of the universe, so that means that they're sages then. If they're talking like that, oh, they're black because of the, you know what I mean? The ancestors touched their finger and made them, all right. then that means y'all are sages. Right? So because y'all are sages, then this applies to them. Mm-hmm. Right? Therefore, neither does he, a sage, cause violence to others. Why? Because law of reciprocity. Mm-hmm. You throw boomerang that way and talk about, yeah, let's just you're gonna get something you don't want. Right? If we look at the Eucadia model, then there are numerous examples as the fundamental importance of the golden rule and rule of law, such as the ancient laws of Yapa, Y-A-P-A, the indigenous first peoples of Australia, such as Book 5, the first law, and the first law of truth. This be the first law of truth. There is, there was, there has only ever been one law. All law is equal, that no one is above it. All law is measured, that all may learn and know it. All law is standard, that it may always be applied the same. A law be a rule given by divine instruction, this being the highest law. No lesser law may contradict it. A law be an edict given by a great council of wise elders and agreed by all tribes, this being the second highest law. No lesser law may contradict it. A law be custom and ceremony over time, this being the third highest law. A rule that is secret cannot be a law. A rule that is secret cannot be a law. So anything having to do with codes, acts, ordinances, whatever,
bylaw number,
bylaw, this and that,
number, blah,
highway code, this and that, those were made in secret. Those weren't made with the public knowing. Some secret people got together, made that, and then gave that to the people, say there's the law. And then people start following that, thinking that's law. Right? A rule that is secret cannot be a law. A rule that is unclear in meaning cannot be a law. A rule that cannot be applied cannot be a law. A rule may be written by sign or symbol, but only when spoken at a place of law is it law. A rule may be written by sign or symbol, but only when spoken at a place of law, it's law. So if law is spoken in a place that's not law, then law doesn't apply. That's why stuff happens when you go into those tribunals, because law does not apply there. That's why we tell people, make sure you send papers first and let your papers talk for you, so you don't have to go in there and talk law that doesn't apply in there. And if you go in there, you're talking based on that paper that you sent, not because you feel emotional because judge not listening to you. That's why you sent the papers in. That's why you put evidence A, evidence B on it, because that's what you're going to be using when you go in there. A law may be spoken, but only when it is comprehended and agreed is it justice. All people of the same community are subject to the same rule of law. All men and women of a community are bound to live by the rule of law of the community. No one may be accused except by rule of law. No one may be punished except by rule of law. Where there is no justice, there is no law. Where there is no honor, there is no law. A man or woman who are not taught how to comprehend law cannot be bound by it. A man or woman who are not taught how to comprehend the law cannot be bound by it. And that's why people even out here fear Canaanland Moors Temple. because they say that we have restrictions. It's not restrictions. You better know what the hell you're talking about before you go out there talking about saying you're more. So we say you got to come to 25 classes and we got to put our autograph next to your name so we know you did the class. That's not we're taking over something. That's a man or woman who are not taught how to comprehend law, which is what we do. Teach people how to comprehend law so that they can go out there and be better citizens. Right? A man or woman who are not taught how to comprehend law cannot be bound by it. Any law that is against such truth cannot be law. And that's our brothers, right? That again, the principal foundation of what is considered laws today all come from indigenous people who already had laws that they were using to govern themselves. That's why they came here and there was millions of buffaloes. Millions of buffaloes. And remember that they were still killing them, taking the hide and stuff, making carpet and stuff. There were millions of them still. Right? So as soon as we realize that, that's also our mindset. We're tied to them over there. Because the same lessons, you go read the Iroquois Confederation Constitution and tell me if that's not this. Said differently. And then you go to the Moros in the Philippines and then you read their constitution and tell me if that's not this. The golden rule and history of authority. If you have skimmed through any history book, then you know that the idea of all the people voting to elect their leaders is far from an ancient concept well established. Instead, the concept of open elections for all people, just as an elite, is a relatively recent event. You may have also read and reviewed that one of the core arguments used by the professional political classes, as well as the professional legal class of their authority, is the constant consent of the people, that they govern by the will and consent of the people. There is, of course, another source of authority that is of at least equal importance, that is plastered on most government and judicial buildings around the world, and it is the concept of the mandate of heaven. Rightly or wrongly, the oldest of civilized cultures believe the highest law to be the laws of heaven or divine laws, followed then by the laws of nature, then the laws of men. Indeed, the foundation of all civilized rule of law, including all Western Roman law, begins with the acknowledgement that the highest law comes from the divine creator of all things in the universe, expressed through the laws of the universe, and then through the reason, common sense, and spirit of man to make positive laws. So, divine creator expressing itself through the laws of the universe, expressing itself through the laws of nature, expressing itself through the positive laws of man. So it's not supposed to be any negative law. There's not supposed to be color of law. There's not supposed to be de facto governments. There's not supposed to be corporate governments. Because law is only positive because it comes from the divine. And this is where it comes to the importance of Noble Drew Ali. Because he's the only, there ain't nobody else. You find me somebody else, and I hit you off. That said that the movement is divine. Made reference to divine all the time, not just as a phrase for the Creator or aspects of the Creator, but actually tying that to things that we deal with personally. Like, we deal with truth personally. For him to say something like divine truth, that he wants you to know, not just truth, but he wants you to know divine truth. It's a whole different frequency. A whole different vibration. Okay? And again, with him saying that things have to be done under the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, just for that fact alone, you know that when the Moors get back on top, there can't be any negative law. There can't be any oh well, because you know those Moors were dirty, you know, we get to put them on the wall. You know, like, it's not gonna be like that, because it's gonna be the divine. That's why Drew Ali set the order that only Allah guides the destiny of the Moorish movement. Yeah, listen to these guys think that they got something. They're gonna tell you where the Moorish movement is gonna be in 10 years. How are they gonna say what the Moorish movement is gonna be in 50 years when Allah alone guides its destiny? And if you think that Allah is gonna make this thing fall to the wayside and become nothing, not even a sprinkle of this in the minds of people, you think Allah's gonna let that happen? Then you take off your turban and fez, turn in your card button, and go back to being a Negro. Because as you can see, you know, it's pinned up. The very meaning and essence of the idea of quote-unquote office is derived from ecclesiastical and ceremonial duty and service when in possession of some circumscribed space, such as a chapel, temple, altar, or sanctuary. In recognition of the fact that the legitimacy of office is through the recognition of the supremacy of divine law over positive law, the investiture of people into office is normally created upon a sacred and ecclesiastical oath to some higher spiritual power. Right? Which is why Moors would tell people, you know, ask these people for their bonds, ask these people for their oaths. Not because we could get it and then, you know, get some fiat or something like that, or sue them or do whatever like that. No, you're getting that as proof because we're divine ministers. So now we have, remember, the oath that they're taking to be in their office is of a divine contract. It's not some personal contract. It's a divine contract. So if we have the oath, if they present that, yeah, I have an oath, but they're telling you about traffic court, obviously their stuff's not coming from no divine order. Obviously those people are criminals. Because divine order would recognize that it's not about violating this oath because it's divine. It's coming back on me if I violate the oath. It's not, oh yeah, the government's going to do something. They're going to take my job away. No, like I might walk outside and get hit by a bus because I violated my oath. I might go to Mexico and just drink some bad water and
That's it.
that's it. Just because. Violated the oath. In recognition of the fact that the legitimacy of office is through the recognition of the supremacy of divine law over positive law, the investiture of people into office is normally created upon a sacred and ecclesiastical oath to some higher spiritual power. Therefore, all valid official positions of all legitimate governments of all societies on planet Earth depend on the acknowledgement and recognition of the highest law from the divine creator of all things in the universe. And the very meaning and purpose of the word authority is derived from the creation of instruments and pronouncements of law in accordance with ecclesiastical ritual, ceremony, or property. The very meaning what is that thing? Because we've been, the very meaning of authority is derived from the creation of instruments and pronouncements of law in accordance with ecclesiastical ritual, right? Ecclesiastical ritual, ceremony, going through the outer chamber, right? Go to the secret, go in the coffin, right? Okay. Or property. Therefore, all legitimate authority of all officials, of all valid governments, of all societies on planet Earth depend on the acknowledgement and recognition of that all authority ultimately derived from the highest authority being the divine creator of all things in the universe. So you can't escape Allah. Yeah, I want to be a Moor, but I don't think I want to be Muslim. You can't escape Allah. You can be a black power Moor, Allah is still your God. Don't try to move from the divine power, the divine force. You have to deal with it. It's not spookism. There's a divine creator. Don't even tell me about, I don't care. There's a divine creator. If you're a living entity, you know that there's a divine creator. I don't care what the name is, doesn't matter. We'll just call it divine creator. Everybody knows exactly what we're talking about when you say divine creator. Right? Thus, the very existence of all societies and the idea of rule of law across planet Earth is dependent on the idea of the existence of the divine creator, which under the Euclidean model we describe as the unique collective awareness. As the authority and legitimacy of an office is derived from ecclesiastical authority, then the obeying of the rule of law is not merely duty, but necessary for the lawful effect of any action. This is because no spiritual force may flow through natural law and positive law of this world if the sacred rules that establish such a law are willingly broken. It is why, through the original laws of trust between the entruster and the trustee, known as fiduciary laws, requires such diligence. It is also why the laws between the trustee and beneficiary, originally known as the laws of equity, are equally as stringent. And why are they equally as stringent? Because everything's based in divine law. And you can't keep playing around with divine law and think that divine law is not going to come back and get you for violating divine law. You could violate all you want, but you know what I mean. Eventually, divine law is gonna say, "Yo,
what's up?
You've been violating. Like, what's good? You've been violating. No, you didn't just start violating. You've been violating, right? Also, too, make sure you go read. You know, after we read all that with all these, you know, faking this and faking that and whatever, make sure you again continue to revisit the apostolic letter Motu Proprio, May 2015, by Pope Francis, right? Who, you know, went to the prisons, washed the prisoners' feet and all this type of stuff, doing all these things that you never hear a Pope do. Saying all these things you never hear a Pope say.
You don't hear a Pope talking that stuff, right?
Pope don't talk how Pope Francis talks. Like, popes don't talk like that. Like, they just don't talk like that.
They don't.
Right?
They don't.
So, you know, prior to him, but he's a good reference point for some things not.
Something's up.
Something's up. Something's up. He's gonna put this out with his pen. He's gonna put this out. Like the pen, they're gonna put this out.
I seen a Muslim guy put up a comment. He's like, Islam needs someone like. How come we don't have someone like Pope Francis? We need a guy like that guy.
We need a guy like Pope Francis, because he is the man right now. He is busting them up right now. And remember, everything's in divine law, so he already knows all these stuff that these popes done. Let me get myself out of karmic debt's way when the blade comes swinging through here, because I'm not getting it. Maybe I might lose a foot or something like that, right? Finger or something like that, but I'm not getting the cut in half. Like, that's not what's going on, right? He's doing what he has to do to get the hell out the way, so he doesn't get it. Because he knows that. He knows what's coming. He knows what the hell's coming. Right? Brother Aljamir Bey sent this one. We're just going to check the email, deal with all these questions right now. Claims no law halting refusal to pay gas tax. Cleveland, December 4th, no year stated. Lonnie Morel Bay, who claims Moorish descent, today was out to prove that there's no law to crack down on his refusing to pay gasoline taxes. Bay drove into a service station last Saturday and ordered 15 gallons of gas, then refused to pay the tax portion of the bill. The station attendant called the police. Bay was hauled off to jail. Edward Martin L. pulled the same act Sunday, and he too was taken to jail. Today, both of the men were released by Assistant Police Prosecutor Bernard Conway, who said they had violated no law. Follow, you know, they don't want to be Moors and all that stuff, right? Bay, a 42-year-old foundry worker, presented a card at the gas station which said the U.S. never allowed descendants of the Moorish nation to become citizens of this Union States Republic. Legally, quote unquote, legally, the card read, the Dred Scott decision, oaths of 1854, and the Union of 1863 exempted me from all taxation of the 48 Union states. Bay also had a card which headed Moorish American Club members' personal legal document for legal defense in U.S. courtrooms. In part, the card said, I concede in the name of law, truth, justice. I myself cannot be legally tried in the United States law of the land. Both men are allegedly members of the Clock of Destiny, also known as the Moorish Great Seal Constitution National Club. And don't forget, prosecutor Bernard Conway released them because they didn't violate any law. And they were members of Clock of Destiny, Great Seal. You heard of them? I know somebody sent an email about Clock of Destiny, so you recognize that there's a news article. We're not talking about Moorish Science Temple now. We're talking about a different jurisdiction where they have a card that says that they're tax exempt, and they have a card that says that they're Moorish this and that, whatever. But that's Clock of Destiny. That's not Moorish Science Temple. So now we have these two organizations that are talking, the same way. How many other organizations you think were around that time that, you don't know about, that are offshoots of the Moorish movement that we do not know about? Luckily, we know about Clock of Destiny, but there had to have been more. There's no way that there was just Clock of Destiny was the only group of Moors out there doing something active. It's impossible. And again, this is for all the people who hear clock people talk about, civics, and we don't do that really.
Civics, we don't do that.
Right? And playing this is some playing thing. Right? Protests arrests, but acknowledges he beat his wife. Newark, New Jersey, May 26. There's no date on this one either. In 4th Precinct Court came Luther Fillmore, a Negro, charged with beating his wife Ada. Luther admitted chastising Ada, but protested at being arrested because he was, he said, a naturalized Moorish American Muslim from Morocco, and therefore was outside the jurisdiction of the police. Why, inquired Judge Albano, did you beat your wife? I was trying to convert her to being a Moorish American Muslim, Luther said, producing a certificate which showed that he had become for the trifling price of 50 cents a Moorish American Muslim himself. You see, Judge, it ain't right. I should be an Oriental and my wife a Baptist. If you beat her anymore, I'll send you to jail, warned the judge. Case dismissed. Allah be praised, said Luther, salaming. Right? Now, beating the wife and stuff like that and getting off lets you know how serious nationality and birthrights is. And lets you know how corrupt they are. Why? Because they're not going to get his karmic debt for beating Allah. Why are they going to take your hit by giving you jail time? They let you go, let Allah deal with them. And on top of that, remember, he was a naturalized Moorish American. He was naturalized. So, being that he was naturalized, and then he beat his wife, then that should let you know how the naturalized Moors get down. Because they specifically said he was a naturalized Moorish American. Beat his wife and still got off. Right? Why? Because oath of amnesty and reconstruction. Which means if you naturalize, then you get a pardon. But you get a pardon as a slave, not as a Moorish national. You get a slave pardon, which is what he just got. A slave pardon. Remember the other article, they called them Bay and L in the other article. They didn't mention that they were naturalized. The one that they mentioned that naturalized, they still used the slave name. They didn't even put Bay or L. But they said that he's Moorish American, Muslim. Not just Moorish American only. Moorish American Muslim.
From Morocco.
From Morocco. Games. Right? You know who took the check to get off of their little stuff, slap their wife and get off charges and stuff like that. You know, I did say it, you know. It's in the article. Brother Amori Bey is Hebrew Israelite a nationality? The only way Hebrew Israelite is a nationality is if Hebrew Israelites say that they're Moors. If Hebrew Israelites say that they're Hebrew Israelites, no Hebrew Israelite is not a nationality. If Hebrew Israelites say that they're Moors, then Hebrew Israelite, they can make that claim. But that's their nationality, because they're Moors. Nobody might not go with it, but it have more legitimacy than just saying you're a Hebrew Israelite alone without saying Moors attached to it. But Hebrew Israelite is not a nationality. How do we know? Because we're still waiting for them to show us their Hebrew nationality card. Oh, their Hebrew Israelite nationality card that they still haven't shown yet. That we're not expecting them to show, because, you know, just like the bonds and the oaths, they don't got it. So it ain't nothing to show, nothing to ask for. Just expose them punks. Hebrew Israelite is not a nationality. I'm not going to debate with his followers, but I'm pretty sure it isn't. I got attacked when I said we can't free anyone calling our people black. Not by him, but a lot of people with L and Bay titles attacked me saying he isn't and we ain't Moors. They kept saying he's a direct descendant of the tribe of Judah. Well, he better be born in July. Because if he's not born in July, then he's not a tribe of Judah, nothing. And then if they have L and Bay on their name, and they call themselves Hebrew Israelite, then that means they're really Canaanites, not Hebrew Israelites. And if they're Canaanites, then that means that they're Moors. Because the Hebrews worship Baal. Don't let them fool you with Yahweh. Oh yeah, we worship Yahweh. No. The early Hebrew Israelites, the early Hebrews, they worship Baal with the Canaanites. Just go do your research. Forget what I say. Just go do your research about who worship Baal. And when they show you that the Canaanites worship Baal, that means they didn't always have Yahweh. They didn't always have Tetragrammaton, YHVH, and stupid stuff. Trying to play games. Hebrew Israelites are Canaanites, which means that they're Moors. But, you know, if they want to be tribes of Judah and tribes of Gad and tribes of Simeon and all this crap, when they could just say that they're Taurus, Sagittarius, then let them do their thing. You know what I mean? Negroes will be Negroes. Let them do their Negro stuff and stay away from those people, because, you know, when Allah's guillotine starts dropping, You don't want to be near them, people there. Right? Let them do their thing. Right? When I listened to our brother, and he started off with love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and he's called himself a Hebrew Moor, we can have whatever belief system we want, but we are still Moors. And that's the perspective. If you're Hebrew, you're a Hebrew Israelite Moor. If you're Black Power, you're Black Power Moor. You got the flag up in the house. Like, come on. You got the flag in the house. Why don't you just tell the people that you're a Moor? Why you want them to guess? I wonder if he's a Moor or not. Do you got them wrong? Maybe he is a Moor. But he hasn't said it, so I don't think that he's a Moor. Nah, he's not a Moor. He's just showing unity. He's just showing unity, so he has the Moroccan flag in every video just to show unity. But, but they're dissing Moors. They have certain Moors that they let in front of the camera, and there's certain Moors
they don't want to
they don't want to put them on the camera anymore because that's just too much information for the people to not say Black Power, because this is all about who getting people to say stuff that they shouldn't be saying. Lay the ground. Brother Adrian Carlisle. Islam Brother Cujo. I'm a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America here in Cleveland, Ohio, Temple number 7, Kirtman Bay. My mother and a friend of mine are interested in the temple and or their nationality. I've been dragging my feet because of my experience with this temple. I didn't start there first. I started out at the Moorish American Institute, then from there was instructed to proclaim my nationality with Temple 7, or Damu El's Temple, number 7, Mili Il, which I did in order to keep learning from them. I did that, then spent the next 2 years in the institute around. We didn't learn any civics, just how to do astrology, natal charts, and some history from Thomas Bay. Now I'm with Brother Bay learning about Circle 7 Quran, Clock of Destiny, when I have the notes to go. Basically, how can my mother and friend proclaim their nationality without dealing with both these temples? Whatever we would ask to be taught law or civics, we were met with some form of resistance. So eventually, I joined a group of friends, stopped attending the temple. It reminded me of church, as they were trying to keep us in the tomb. Alright? So, again, something came up last night. Somebody goes to the temple, and they're getting chased out of there. When that's not what's supposed to be going on.
No.
I don't care if they're nationalizing, whatever. You're not supposed to, because people are questioning your hypocrisy, kick them out and tell them or make them feel uncomfortable or whatever like that. Right? Because this belongs to the people. Right? And again, we talked about it last night. If you have some type of Moorish group, organization, temple or whatever like that, and you bring up civics and they're talking about, nah, we don't deal with that, that's old stuff or whatever like that, you need to learn this stuff over here and commerce and all that, don't even waste your time. Right? Don't even waste your time. And again, that's why we push people, right, to go to rvbaypublications.com, the online Moorish university, the university for active Moors, Moors who want to study, Moors who know that the priesthood is dead. Remember, keep in mind, I'm a priest, I'm a divine minister, I'm a grand sheikh, I'm a grand governor. I went through the Adept chamber. I'm telling you, the priesthood is dead. This position that I have is a dead position. I'm only in it because the people don't want to claim their birthright. They want to play like they need somebody for something. So we'll be here for those needy people. There's other people that they're here just, support Moors, support the needy people. They're not getting nothing from this. They're just here, chill with Kudro. They're just a build. Us and them just building. You're not learning nothing like that. You're gonna take some notes or whatever, but this is for the people who thought they had it all figured out and realized that you're not Negro black colored, you're Moors. And then when you go to find out about Moors, you have church going on. So then you say, oh man, I don't want to do this because this stuff just like church or whatever. And then you're talking to the church people and they're telling you all the Moors who you seem to, gravitate to, they're not on the church thing. They're on this other thing, it's civics, jurisprudence, etymology, law. Then these guys over here on this religious thing, and then they're saying that those guys who aren't on the religious thing are not the real Moors, and then the Moors in the temple are the real Moors, and then you can only be a Moor if you go in a temple, but but then you say nationality, which isn't a temple, right?
So which one is it?
Which one is it? Is it a temple or is it a nation? If it's a temple, then they're probably playing you, doing some church or whatever like that. Have you singing, clapping, and all that kind of crap, right? If it's nationhood, then, you're going to see libraries, books, studying, law dictionaries, you know what I mean? You're going to be studying so much that you can't even sleep. You want to sleep and can't sleep because, I can't believe I didn't know this. This has been in this book here, sitting here for all these years or whatever, right? So what you want to do is, right where you left off, you joined up with a group of friends, all right? So you go up with a group of friends because you did the tour. You did the tour. You went to Cleveland Temple, right? You went to Moorish American Institute. You built with different Moors. And then it still came to the conclusion that, okay, something's missing right here.
Yeah.
Because when I study on my own, I'm finding out way more stuff that these people aren't talking about. They've been here for 40 years or whatever. So you get what you could get. And then, if if the vibe is all right and you can go and you want to learn about astrological natal charts and some history, then go there. You know what I mean? No, don't diss it all together. Still go. If you learn something, why not go? You know what I'm saying? But know that you have your own mind. Priesthood is dead. So let them play the game that, because you decide to study. Because, remember, there's not, Kudro, I was watching Kudro's class and he said, this is you. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest with you, you know what I mean? You guys got some church going on up in here. Because I'm doing my own study and I'm finding out this and this and this, whatever. I've been here for 2 years and you guys never talk about any of this stuff and I have like 800 pages of stuff. You guys never talked about this stuff ever?
Nothing about that.
And then I have this stuff over here that you guys talk about 500 million times. You talk about the same stuff, same page on the same Quran and all that. And you don't move from that. That's the issue. Because temple is supposed to be a school. That's why you got Sunday school. But I have Sunday school if it's not a school. Even church has Sunday school.
The church has more.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have your group of Moors. You use the references that you get from RV Bay publications to study. Use the references that you get from there. Use the references that you get from there, because we're telling people, we're not assuming, we're telling people that there's dirty Moors out there. Noble Ali said few faithful Moors. It's just so you know. Noble Ali said few faithful Moors. Few. So a few really is. Few faithful Moors. Okay, so few. Middle English, F-E-W-E. Pronoun and adjective from Old English, F-A-E-W-A. Akin to Old High German, F-O, meaning little. Latin, paucus, P-A-U-C-U-S, little. Pauper, poor. Not many persons or things were present. Few of his stories are true. Few, adjective, consisting of or amounting to a small number. Not many, but some. A small number of units or individuals. A special limited number. A smaller number of persons or things. Right? So few faithful Moors. And like I was bringing up in the beginning, the ones that are disagreeable, the ones that are disagreeable are going to tell you don't listen to Cujo. They're going to tell you don't listen to Taj. They're going to tell you don't listen to Nature. Don't listen to Raz. Don't listen to Anita. Don't listen to Fonteas. Don't listen to Alim Bey. Don't listen to... They're going to tell you not to listen to certain people who are exercising Moorish nationality from a divine and national perspective. Not just a divine perspective or not just a national perspective. There's a harmonization of divine and national with certain Moors. Those Moors, Nobujwali classified as active. And all those Moors, or active Moors, are where all Moors are supposed to try to be. The objective is to be an active Moor. That's the horizon that we're running towards. Being active Moors. With regard to being an honorary member of the Canaanland Temple, if you are not within the jurisdiction of Canaanland, you can send an email to amarilbay@hotmail.ca or canaanlandguide@gmail.com. canaanlandguide@gmail.com, because you know what we had to do is we had to open up our temple to outside people, because so many people out there, there's no temple where they're at, and they want to be down with the temple, but there's no temple where they're at.
So they're
and those are places that had temples around Drew Ali's time. Those are places that you know should have been on the list of, okay, so where are we gonna put the next temple or whatever? You know, when they got the Tim Hortons, and now we see Tim Hortons freaking everywhere. Remember when Tim Hortons was only at main intersections only?
Yeah, trust me.
Now every corner has Tim Hortons. Like every corner had McDonald's, and every corner has whatever we don't need. That's how temples were supposed to be. Like that. But because there's temples nowhere, now we got McDonald's everywhere, liquor store everywhere, convenience store everywhere, stuff that is not benefiting us as a people. And we're complaining. You shouldn't be complaining. Don't get mad. You're the fool that thought nationality is some foolishness. Nationality has nothing to do with it. We're black guys, and we're from the essence of the universe, so that's why we're black people. But you're brown. There ain't nothing brown in the universe. Weirdos. Brother Elbey sent a few questions. There should be quick answers though. But we'll see. How is XREL and Realtor related, or are they the same thing? So what you want to do is look up XREL, X relation, and look up Realtor. And the definition of those would let you know if they're relative or not. We again push people to make sure you have your tools for the workshop of the mind. We are a people that have never really, I don't want to say mastered, but applied the language that we are speaking in its correct perspective. Right? We've done a lot of making up stuff to suit our pitiful condition. And it's time that we stop making up stuff and actually deal with what the foundation of language is, which is etymology, knowing words' origin. And even if it's not knowing words' origin, at least knowing what words mean. And in order to know what words mean, you have to look them up. And the only way you're going to look them up is in dictionaries, and that's what they're for. And it has nothing to do with white man, black man, and all that stuff who makes dictionaries. They got Chinese dictionaries. It has nothing to do with the white man. Right? English is not a white language. And if you're going to say that it's a European language, we were the first Europeans. So it's still not theirs. We know that we're the founders of everything. Right? So getting in your dictionary, you know what I mean? Like we did today, you know, just a quick bam bam look, check just to make sure, you know what I mean? Right? And then you can deal with that for XREL and realtor. Last night on the talk show, I heard a sheik say, if you're not respected by the Albion de facto government in your area, you're a fake Moor. I'm not respected by none of them, and they all turn their nose up at me. That's how I know I'm doing what's right. Can you comment? This is why we say anything that is colorable will always be colorable. There's no colorable thing turning de jour. Right? Once it's colorable forever. So de facto governments are colorable. So to be recognized by a de facto government, yeah, that will technically make you a fake Moor. Because the fake is recognizing you. If the fake is recognizing real, then fake just made real fake, because fake's recognizing it. Whereas if real recognizes fake, real's not making fake real. Real is distinguishing that that's not it. Which means that there's no jurisdiction, ain't nothing to talk about. You do your thing over there in your fake whatever, and I do my thing here in a fake thing. That's why we said that what we do is we put on notice. Because out here, we don't have any de jure. This is escheated land as far as quote-unquote Canada is concerned. This is a hypothecated land through crown corporations. Through crown corporations. Not a crown corporation. Crown corporations. One crown but corporations of the crown out here is what founded Canada. There was no, the people get together and make a constitution and all that stuff didn't go on out here, right? So we put on notice when we want to, you know what I mean, make a statement. We're not going to them to meet up about anything. Nothing to go to them meet up about. Just put them on notice. Why? Because we have the superior claim. What are they gonna say? What's their response gonna be? And even if they do respond, that's a de facto response. So we're still not gonna listen to it or take it serious anyways. Whereas when you have a governor, for example, you can hold the governor to the state republic constitution, which is tied to the national constitution, in order to be able to deal with them. Like how they're talking about if the Albion de facto is not recognized you in your area or whatever. Yeah, if you got de jure, if the de jure, because remember the de jure is not an acknowledgement from them. It's you recognizing that they're de jure. And they have an obligation to put out a proclamation for the Moorish Americans. And in certain states they did. The states that said they're going to rescind this is because they're not de jure. That's why they could rescind the proclamation. Because it wasn't a proclamation in the first place. Because they didn't have authority to put out no proclamation because they're a fraud. Under the guise of Republican state constitution. They're not doing state constitution. They're not tied to the national constitution. They're a crown corporation. That's allegiance is only to the crown and to the Pope, and that's it. So there's no, if you choose to not have engagements with the Albion de facto government, that doesn't make you fake or real. That just means, you know, you're on a certain degree of knowledge where you don't see them as the authority. And there ain't no need to go talk to them. You have to put them on notice now. Don't just turn your back on them and think that they're not going to chase you down and throw a noose around your neck. You have to put them on notice to let them know your position. You're not just not deal with them because I don't got to deal with them because I'm a Moor. No, if you're thinking like that, then you better put them on notice of your claim. Because you have a right to claim. But if you don't claim, then you abandon. And if you abandon, then they're claiming. And you don't want them claiming if you're not making a claim. You want to make sure that you make a claim first. All the time with them. Right? They, local, state, federal government, don't respect us. How can you expect evil men to respect truth? The Southern Poverty Law Center talks about Moors like dogs. Yeah. And they should, because they're de facto. Why would they talk about Moors in a good light? Why would de facto people honor the Moors? How is that benefiting them? Their job is propaganda, and if they can't do it, get some minions or whatever, you know, to do it for them. Keep these people black. Why do the Moors in the temple think that they're better than the Moors who are not in the temple? Because not all Moors in the temple, some Moors in the temple act that way because that's how they were taught by their agent leaders that really had that concept that, oh, they're a Moor and that is not a Moor because he's not a Moor through this way. He's a Moor some other way, so he's not really a Moor, really. He's a kind of a Moor. But we're the real Moors because, you know, we went through the temple, so we're the real Moors.
Oh, yeah.
But then they're going to say that they're Kirkman Bey, who's not really, you know, authority of anybody, or Givens L, who's not really authority or whatever. So what do you mean you're the real Moors when your foundational father helped kill Noble Drew Ali? What do you mean you're real? How are you real and I'm fake because I'm not in your corruption? If I'm not in your corruption, I'm way more realer than you are in your corruption, trying to say that you're legitimate. No, again, common sense. Think and save yourself. Right? I heard you speak on vanguards, and then you said, look it up. I did, and it's people at the forefront of a movement. The vanguards of this divine movement are mainly Moors who are not associated with a temple. Do you agree or disagree? Completely agree. Because anybody who says the Moorish Science Temple is the nation is limiting their perspective of the nation. They should be saying that the Moorish Science Temple is for nationals. The Moorish Science Temple is part of the nation. But the nation, being the Moorish Science Temple, but then everybody who goes to a temple, most temples, not all, but everybody who goes to most temples say that, oh, that's like church or whatever. Obviously that's not a nation if they got church going on. Clearly they're not a nation. If church is going on. Clearly. Right? So yes, it's mainly Moors who are outside of the temple that have kept has kept the Moorish movement alive. Why? Because the sellout of the Moorish movement was to get the people to be passive and not take this information outside of the temple. Right? Keeping the temple, keeping it, you know, like some hidden secret knock type of whatever to belong to this. Right? Oh, you didn't get the good knock, so you can't come in. Yeah, but I paid my 1,500 dues. No, sorry, you can't come in. You didn't do the secret knock. Yeah, but I painted the whole. Yeah, sorry, you can't come in because. And that's the game that they play in the temple. Why people do that? Which is why people don't want to go there. And we're saying, instead of not going to the temple and being disgruntled with the temple, be disgruntled with those individuals who are playing you and get down with another temple. And keep trying to keep going around to temples until you find a temple that you can say, yeah, I could be part of that, those Moors over there. I can say I'm a member of that temple. That's a temple that I would say I'm a member of. Right? So, the next question, the Albion doesn't care if we travel without their documents. They don't care if we fish without their documents. But they do care when we start to claim land, because once we start to do that on a massive level, then they won't have anywhere else to go. Do you agree or disagree? Strongly agree. And that's why they go so hard from a penalty perspective against people who do land claims as Moors, as Moorish Americans. Because, you know, that's really all they have left. But keep in mind that this isn't their land. So they don't have anything over here. All they have is contracts on paper and the people's trust is what they're using to say that they got land or they ain't got no land. You know, yes, they're gonna let you beat tickets. They're gonna let you fish without whatever. They're gonna let you not pay child support. They're gonna let you not let your child get vaccinated. They're gonna let you get away with everything You start claiming land or whatever, you start, you know, they got problems. Because it's that real. Because remember, this is a Moorish Renaissance right now. And all they have in their DNA is that if they can't be here, then they have to go back to Europe. If they go back to Europe, they're going to be under the jurisdiction of the Moors, and they don't want that. But what they have to realize is it's a new era of time now. And Moors are doing this under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And in doing it under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, you realize, based on the first principle, that you don't gotta be threatened or nothing like that, and the Moors are standing up now. You don't gotta be scared of the Moors like when y'all, you don't have to be scared of the Moors anymore. Ain't no pirates and all that stuff going on right now. Don't let the Somali stuff in. They're just, don't be scared of them. That's Somalia or whatever. That's not Europe. Don't worry about no pirates. Those Moors aren't even around no more. So just go back to Europe, right? Under the jurisdiction of the Moors, who are over there, claiming over there, because it's Moorish Renaissance. You can't escape. It's just what it is. Or you could chill here under the jurisdiction of the Moors. Start living by the Constitution of this great republic that was established for you people called Europeans. In order for you to, humble, kill all the wars and all that stuff. No more fighting, whatever. And let's have some peace. We all deserve some peace. I mean, come on now. You have dead children washing up on the shore and stuff like that. Time for some peace now. Like for like forget all the religion stuff and all that. Time for some peace. You know what I mean? Or at least those who want peace. Let's work towards some peace. Because it could happen. It could manifest. It's do the people want that? It could manifest.
It could manifest.
Just like they showed the Confederate flag, the European, that stopped to help the nigger change his tire. He's Klansman and all that stuff. He got Confederate flag, but he's gonna stop help the nigger. Who they put on the tree, tie him to the truck and drive down the street with the truck and all that stuff. But you help him change the tire. You got people talk about racism and kill Europeans. Why you gonna kill people who never did nothing? You guys just gonna, like Reginald Denny just driving his truck, like guys driving his truck, just beat that guy up. Why you gotta do that to some police or something? Like that's the people who's bothering you. Why you do that to some school board people who are, teaching your children sex education at 2 years old? How about you go grab some of those people, kick their ass or whatever? But nah, you're not gonna do that. They're not gonna go fight their God. They're gonna fight everybody else, but not fight their God. Court cases where you can show members of your temple that if you stand on your square and believe in yourself, anything is possible. Judici.com. In the county box, click on Marion County, then hit enter. JUDICI.com. County box, click on Marion County, hit enter. On the next page, type in the name Evans. In the box, hit enter. On the next page, look for the name Larry T. Evans. It's a bunch of cases. Click the individual cases, take a look at them, share them with Moors of your temple. Right? So, there's actually, activity going on. You know what I mean? Moors are studying, learning the truth about their nationality and birthrights.
Trying to apply some of that knowledge.
Trying to apply some knowledge. You know, some stuff getting through, some stuff, you know, you're gonna have, you know, some speed bumps, hiccups, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. That doesn't stop us from, you know what I mean, exercising. Right? How do you deal with a warrantless warrant and get it rescinded pertaining to de facto government in their attempt to claim jurisdiction over you, the person? In what way should I go about handling the situation? Let's say de facto government issues a warrant for the person. What do you suggest in the form of a writ? I've already made a declaration proclamation of my nationality and birthrights. Plus, I do not wish to go into the so-called courts to make motions, seek out redress grievances. I am not under their jurisdiction. I wish to remain that way, not to enter into their jurisdiction and fall for their tricks. How do you maneuver through the system? Well, first of all, why they got a warrant on you? Because you obviously missed something. There's obviously something that was going on
before you were more.
That they got a warrant now. Right? Had to be something going on.
What's the warrant for?
So they always are going to use warrantless warrants because they're colored. If they issue a warrant, it's because you missed something. They're not just like something got missed, right? You made declaration and proclamation of your nationality and birthrights. Did you put them on notice when you did that? Whether you were in the situation, not in the situation yet, whatever. Anybody who you've ever dealt with regard to anything should be put on notice that you made this proclamation and declaration. And again, we are telling Moors that you need to study. It's a need. It's not a want. It's a need to study. Because there's not even no real answer. Because we don't even know what the situation is. What's the situation that there's even a warrant involved? Because warrants are late. Warrants aren't inception. Warrants are down the road. So if we're talking about warrant, but we're not talking about what led up to the warrant, then there's no remedy like that. Right? Because if we can say write writs, but what's the writ about? You know, like there's no pass go collect $200. Like this is not that. This is not, oh, I messed up by, let me use my Moorish nationality, and this is not that. Because you cause yourself more damage. Now, my suggestion is you put everybody on notice immediately of your declaration and proclamation. And it means everybody. That means you get on your Fontes and you're sending 1,200 faxes or whatever. You're sending, 5,000 emails or whatever like that. Everybody's knowing about your public declaration and proclamation. Right? And like they know where to go, because what's the situation? You know what I mean? How far is it? There is no, if You know, rescind a warrant. You know, I don't even know, like, rescind a warrant. Right now, you said that it's a warrantless warrant, which means it has no power at law. But then you're saying you want to rescind it.
Mm-hmm.
Which
but
again,
but you don't want to go in their jurisdiction to do that.
but then you don't want to go into the jurisdiction. Whereas, because where if there's a warrant, then you have to have been in the jurisdiction at some time. You have to have been in the jurisdiction,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
whether indirectly, directly. You know what I mean? Not casting blame or nothing. Just
Mm-hmm.
looking at this with the peripherals,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we would suggest that at 9:30 you call into the blog talk show, right? Call into the blog talk show where you can ask questions and speak with somebody who deals with warrants, because I don't deal with warrants, because I don't have no dealings with these crazy people out here called land surveyors.
Speculators.
Land speculators, right? We are not dealing with them people, because out here they're de facto. They don't have an ounce, they don't have a pint of goodness in them. Their job is cheat.
Mm-hmm.
Their job is rape and pillage indigenous people out here. So we do not engage them on those levels. And when we do engage them, ain't no warrants going on. I mean, ain't no kicking Moors out the court and then issue a warrant out here. They don't, like, they know us enough that they don't do that with us out here. Like, they don't do that with us out here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? And like a good Albion son said, our desire to fight a fiction gives it energy to fight back.
Mm-hmm.
Our desire to fight a fiction, not fight fraud, not fight injustice, not fight, constitutional law violations, fight a fiction, gives the fiction energy to fight back. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Law maxim. Law that was around before there was law.
Mm.
Ignorance of law is no excuse. And it's letting us know how we are messed up right now. Just take your time, study. Like you ain't never studied before. Study like you never studied before. For the blog talk, 347-945-5899. 9:30 p.m. 347-945-5899. Right? Because, trust me, I'm not even going to play with just put some writs out there. Yeah, just throw some writs out there or whatever, because these people don't play. These people don't play. And that question is an unanswerable question, because I don't deal with warrants. It doesn't get that far with me and them people.
A warrantless warrant.
You know what I mean? It doesn't get that far with me. No such thing as a warrant. Getting, warrant. Have them hunting me down and all that type of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, this is not no slave catcher freaking shit like that. No way. No way. This one's kind of long. So we'll save that one. And are the Maroons of the so-called West Indies indigenous to America, or were they in the islands already? Well, the islands is America, so yeah, they were indigenous to America. Because the islands is America. The islands is Atlantis, which is America. So, yeah, the Maroons. No, Garvey was a Maroon, which means he was Aboriginal indigenous. Right? And maroon, maroon? Maroon. That's royalty, purple. That's royalty. Then Drew Ali said, it's clothed in purple. Royalty. Maroon. Royalties ever, slave ships and stuff like that. Indigenous people. Natives. Real natives. Have you heard of the Maroon Treaty? And if so, does it still exist or is it available? I never heard of the Maroon Treaty. But I have heard of Maroons being sent to Canaanland and founding a place called in Halifax called Citadel Hill. Do your research on Citadel Hill when the Maroons that went to Halifax, Canaanland. They came from a slave ship. How do they know to find over here? All the way from Jamaica. They found over here.
I thought they didn't know.
Yeah, thought they lost their culture and the slave ships and all that stuff. But we'll leave that alone, because Moors, we don't know what we're talking about, right? So, a Maroon, West Indian, just some more, names, brands to classify Aboriginal and Indigenous people to create jurisdictions. And that's all they do, create jurisdictions, and then we go with the jurisdiction that was created. That where people now, when they hear Maroon, they think about rebellious slaves. No rebellious slave. Freaking piranha get rebellious in a tank. They're rebellious slaves, right? They were the ones that weren't really the slaves. I'll be rebelling too. You try to put me in slavery when I'm not a slave.
Yeah. You ain't no business trying to do that shit.
I'm not why you guys treat me like? Hold on a second. No, none of that. I ain't going down. And they stood up for, their right not to be a slave. Kick some colonizers' asses. And then colonizers, the fat lip and the busted eye, whatever, those guys are Maroons over there. Don't mess with those ones. Those are the ones that, you put in the field or whatever, because don't let them in the house or whatever, because they'll tear everything up inside. Slave nothing. That's not what it is. Right? Maroons are Aboriginal and Indigenous people. Yes. Right? Yes. So, That's Canaanland Moors class today. Make sure you study, rvbaypublications.com and its subsidiaries, its branches. You know what I mean? As soon as you go on there, you're gonna get references, guaranteed. Right? I want to say Islam to all the Moors. Continue to recognize for yourself what your nationality and birthright is, because it doesn't mean anything if anybody else recognizes it before you recognize your own stuff. So recognize yourself first. When you recognize self, then let other people know. And in letting other people know, they will be inspired, because they would realize that, hey, there's actually Moors out here. There's actually Moors. Wow, there's this thing called Moors. They're back. Let me get a picture. Because they know the Moors are back. They know the Moors are back. Right? They know that it's on. So be on the lookout, because I know, some people are working on some stuff out there, so just be on the lookout for the videos or, articles or whatever. We're going to be dropping in a little while. As well, no class on Sunday. We're going to be at the hair show, the Toronto Naturals 10th annual hair show. Been with them since day one, repping, you know what I mean? So, big up to the sisters that kicked that off and been had it going 10 years strong, you know what I mean? 500 plus people every year. People coming from all over the place to the Toronto Natural Hair Show. Big deal out here. Big deal. So, obviously we'll be in the house representing. We'll have something uploaded probably Monday, because we have our little hour and a half, you know what I mean, to do our little thing. So keep in mind for that. I don't know what else is about to drop. Also, we're getting the mix down going on right now. We just started getting the mix down for the new compilation. So we want to tell all the donors, you know what I mean, appreciate the support. We got something coming, you know what I mean. We're looking at 33 tracks, 33 tracks, 3 CDs. I mean, 11 songs or CD. You know what I mean? It's all compilation. No one artist, stuff like that. You know what I mean? You gotta see what's going on with Canaanland MCs when we get the stuff done. You see what's going on with Canaanland MCs when we get the stuff done. You guys think Iron Sheik is something? You ain't heard nothing. Iron Sheik ain't nothing compared to when you hear what's coming. Right? Al Moroccans, album coming soon. Wisdom of the Womb. It's gonna be crazy. Triple disc. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Juali. Islam. Ashe. Peace and love, Moors. Don't forget, 9:30. Actually, they beat me up last night, so I'm going to be yielding the floor tonight, but I'll be listening. blogtalkradio.com/MHHS-eyes wide open. Call-in number 347-945-5899. Wholeness and love, Moors. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We win, we won, and we shall carry on. Islam.